Hello, and welcome back. So remember, before running, we need to have those surface patches. So in this case, as we were using blockMesh and blockMesh, they are automatically created the patches or in the outer box. So it will be like min X, min Y, whatever. Then we rename it to inlet, outlet, and so on. So you need to get those patches, the surfaces to apply boundary conditions. Big question, what about boundary conditions now? So let's talk a little bit short lecture. So basically what we're solving here is an initial boundary value problem. That is a problem that requires initial conditions and boundary conditions. So, well, let me skip here. When it comes to boundary conditions, you have three main groups, no? Dirichlet, Newman, and Robin. Dirichlet is a fixed value, fixed velocity. Newman is a zero gradient, okay? And Robin is a mixing of those. So it will be the inlet outlets you are already familiar. So those are the main groups. Then in OpenFOAM, things will get very complicated. There are many types of boundary conditions. So here are a few words in boundary conditions. So the most important thing here is that boundary conditions needs to be physically realistic because those are the biggest sources that you have in your simulation. Very important. So there's where you are telling what is entering and going out, or what is how the flow is entering and coming out of your domain. So they're extremely important. So give physically realistic values. So a few comments here now, like boundary condition, boundary condition, boundary condition. Now all the contour, and then inside everything that is bound by those boundary conditions, you give an initial condition because you need a starting point. When it comes to initial conditions, they can be divided as two main groups: uniform and non-uniform. Most of the time we use uniform, but also we have the option to use non-uniform. That is something a little bit more advanced. But for the time being, all the cases that we have run and this case that we're going to run, we use uniform initial conditions. So you start from a uniform value. Let's say my initial velocity is 20 and everything is 20, and then the solution will evolve. Okay, so a few comments. Like for boundary conditions, they need to be physically realistic. That's very important. Here, talking about something about inlets and outlets, and since that you have to be careful that sometimes you can find boundary conditions or surface face groups where the flow can re-enter the domain, and that can give you some stability problems. So they should be you should treat those surface grid in a very specific way to avoid what is called backflow. So one of the ways to do that is to have a super large domain to avoid that, but usually we have, let's say, constraints in the computational resources, and we cannot use a very large domain, so we use relatively small domains, and we can have that problem. So there are some specific boundary conditions, something that's called inlet, outlet, or backflow treatment. So depend of the software, the CFD solver, they will call it differently. OpenFOAM is called inlet, outlet, outlet, inlet. So when you see that, that is what is happening. Also very important, outlets also depending on the physics that you are dealing, but most of the time fix the pressure at the outlet. And look at what you have here is that two different cases. So in the case one, we fix the pressure at the outlet. In the case two, we didn't fix. So see that as you don't fix the pressure at the outlet, there is no reference and you have large oscillations. So as you look at this, you realize immediately, okay, this is a problem. But if you look at the convergence and monitor quantitative of interest, you don't see any problem. Okay, convergence. So these two cases, and you see that they're very similar. However, visualizing, you realize you have the problem, that there is a problem. So like in the mesh, that I always visualize the mesh to be sure. Here also look at the mesh. But this doesn't mean that it's not going to diverge eventually. If you leave this running, it might diverge. It might give you a problem. So be careful about that. Okay, talking about symmetry boundary conditions that are equivalent to sleep walls. Okay, you have boundary layers. So you have seen that sometimes I talk about symmetry. It is equivalent to talk about sleep. The main difference between a sleep wall and symmetry is that symmetry you apply it in planar faces. So be careful about that. That is, you have a face with curvature, you should use the specific sleep wall that it exists in OpenFOAM. Honestly, I'm very used to use symmetry, but I think I should use all symmetry sleep instead. Talking about dimensions of the domain, the larger, as I mentioned, the larger the better. So here just this figure just to show off, what happens. So if you are too close to the body, see that issue that you might have flow coming back into your domain. That is a problem. So put it far far from where scenes are happening. So usually this is a rule of the town. It's not written on a stone, but you can follow. So usually for external aerodynamics, by the way, if you're doing internal flow, nothing to do. You need to constrain to that geometry, like the pipe, like the elbow. You cannot do anything else. Okay, so the larger the better. Also the shape of the domain here, I put in a rectangle. It can be a C-type or it can be a sphere. Okay, there is no problem. You can do that with blockMesh. Probably there will be another tutorial that I show that, but there is no limitation. But the bigger the better, just to avoid issues now with incoming flow, but also with having a strong gradients close to the boundary. So imagine that here you have a shock wave, and if this boundary is close to the surface, that shock wave will have an influence, and that can be a problem. Okay, so some general comments, then you can read it at your own pace. So the most important is that initial conditions, boundary conditions needs to be physically realistic, okay? That is the most important one. Now, specific boundary conditions in OpenFOAM, there are many, and in the source code you have them there. And let's explore a little bit. And let me go to the source code and to show that. Let me open them. I have OpenFOAM. It was OpenFOAM 12. By the way, the location changed from version to version, if I will recall. There are some small differences, so be careful. Finite volume, I think it's the next one. Finite volume fields. Okay, here and here you're going to have the basics. So constraint, when I talk about constraint, and then derive. Okay, show it this life. And here's where things get crazy, all these boundary conditions. So zero inlet, outlet, waves transmissive, sleep, talking about sleep, we were just talking about that, but then supersonic free stream, fixed value, so things get a little bit messy here. So my best advice is that try to use rig the source code. So usually if you open any of these and then you go into the .h, you have here a short explanation of how to use it, when you can use it. But yeah, it can be really confusing. Honestly, I myself that I use it a lot often when I get confused, and I have to say that I haven't programmed in a long time. The only things that I program in OpenFOAM uh, today, I used to program a long time ago, was turbulence models, modifying boundary conditions and function object. Okay, and yeah, well, just to mention something. Uh, okay, so there you go. You have the location. You can explore that. Then you have the phone info, and you can ask for the specific boundary conditions, and also you can get information. What are all the uh, boundary conditions available? I think it should be. Let me go phone info. Help. Okay, so interphone, there is a command that it lets you know. Okay, so I don't recall, there is a specific keyword and it will list you all the dirty slash, all the Newman and so on. So if I found it, I would put it in the video description. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so now let's go to this one. No, we have base type and numerical type. So recall that from I talked a lot about this file, the boundary. Sometimes I talk about constant polymesh boundary. So here you set the base type. The base type will be the main groups, the largest groups. No, there's Newman or Robin. So if I go back here, should be this one. So basic, see that you have, okay, these are not, should be this constraint. So look at that, you have cyclid, NT, wedge, symmetry, processor. So these are the constraint ones. So these are the big groups that they are designed across all files in constant boundary, but in the folder 0. Okay, so this is this distinction. And then you have the numerical type is the one that you go into 0, initial conditions and boundary conditions, or whatever folder you put these files. So each variable that you are solving, okay, you need to define. And here you give the actual numerical value. Okay, so that is the main difference. So when you define, and I'm talking about, for instance, base type, okay, that big group, the group that is called constraint, in all files, it will be the same. So as you define a cyclid, it's a periodic, okay, or cyclic AMI, later we're going to see that actually disappeared, it's called something else. NT, symmetry, symmetry plane, wedge, slip, it is exactly the same name, okay? So make your life easy because just say name. But then when it comes to a specific one of base type that is called patch, and recall that from time to time I call patch. Patch can take the form of any of the boundary conditions that you have, and that's why it is a little bit tricky. So a patch can be a calculated, can be a fixed value, can be an inlet outlet, can be also a slip, can be a supersonic free string, okay, any of the boundary conditions available. So this is the confusion, okay, there with this specific patch. Then you have another one, which is wall. You have seen wall. Wall, it is a fixed value with 0, 0, 0, okay? However, you need to specify wall when you know that you're going to use specific models at walls. So the most general one that we all know is turbulence modeling, but can be also heat transfer, can be a surface field or whatever, chemical reaction. So when you're using models like the wall, you need to define the specific base type that is wall, okay? So for all the cases that we have run so far, it is only turbulence modeling. And I think for all the cases that we're going to run in this training, it will be only turbulence modeling. So then patch, just to show you, and the inlet outlet. So remember the backflow treatment, and you have flow coming back into domain. To the domain, this is what you do. You put, for instance, velocity inlet outlet, inlet value, and value uniform. So basically, this will what it will do is the flow is going out, use a zero gradient, meaning extrapolate the solution. If the flow is coming back into your domain, block it with this velocity, or if you want, you can use, say, push it outside or push it inward with a given velocity. It's up to you, but usually the standard practice is you block it with a given velocity, okay? So that is what is happening. So for the case of external aerodynamics, and pretty much also internal aerodynamics, this is let's say, a common combination of boundary conditions. Now, how you set this one. So for pressure, you set like this. At the inlet, zero gradient. At the outlet, you fix your pressure value. At the wall face, use a zero gradient. Symmetry, cyclic, slip, they are the same. Velocity, fix your velocity at the inlet. At the outlet, you can use zero gradient or inlet outlet, they are the same. And turbulence feels the same. You apply here wall functions. Remember that now we have that specific modeling capability. So this is a very standard combinations boundary conditions. So when it comes to wall functions, basically you have many things there. I'm not going into details. As I mentioned, this is a completely different beast that we need to tame in a different way. So that it will be another training. But by the way, we also have that training already. A little bit also we're now doing everything new standard. Pretty much, yeah, you have it there. Also be careful now, the naming convention should be the same. So if in constant polymesh boundary you call it inlet, in the numerical type should have the same name. So be careful about that. Bam, 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 bam. A little bit how to search information and so on. Okay, so later you can read that. And basically, what I was talking about is this boundary file now. So basically, this tree means that you have three patches, the name of the patch, type patch. Now you know that the patch can be a lot of things. So in this case, it is something moving. It can be a fixed value. This information you don't change it. Then you have fixed walls, these walls, and walls, you know that there you are applying a specific model, or it is a non-penetration wall. So exactly the same. So some comments there, and look at how things get there. So this is what we're doing in boundary conditions. So take your time, think about boundary conditions as usual. As I say, when you open this file, when you open this directory, usually, no, it's this one. Usually people freak out. So yeah, freak out when you open this. But don't worry, now you have the most important combinations in this slide. So most of the time that will be okay for you. Otherwise, if you need something more specific, take your time, read a little bit the documentation, and yeah, freak out. So yeah, that's all for this case. In the next video, we're going to set up this case. So this was the lecture regarding boundary conditions.